Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about 4 alternatives for university. Starting off, I do want to explain on how I came to even decide on alternatives. So for me, it wasn't very clear if I would go to university right away after school, because there's this school funding in Germany where you can apply to, and they would give you a certain amount of money every month for you to be able to pay either your living expenses in uni or the uni itself. And for me, I wasn't very sure if I could do that this year, if I could apply to it this year, or if I have to apply for it next year. So I was kind of thinking about different things that I could do within that year that would still make the time worthwhile and not for me to waste a year doing absolutely nothing. So the first one I want to talk about came pretty early on in my thinking process. It was actually a gap year. Now, a lot of people take gap years, I know that. But for me, that gap year would have been that I would move to a different country all by myself and start working there or work online, um, to kind of use that gap year to see what I do not want in my life. So I kind of want to explain that a little bit because for me, I'm not the 9 to 5 person. My dad kind of raised me, seeing different alternatives on how you can make money without having to work for somebody else. And so that kind of became a big, big goal in my life. I do not want to be in a 9 to 5 forever. I mean, obviously, you got to start off small. And obviously, I will have to work 9 to 5 eventually in my life to start making a living for myself. But I do want to grow out of that pretty quickly. So that gap year for me would have been to see what I do not want. I would have moved to a different country, start working in a coffee shop or I don't know, at a restaurant or anything, just to make money for me to be able to get by, but also experience like the social aspects of the country and get to know the country and the culture a lot. I wanted to work in that gap year and then take holidays off to come here and visit my family. But I didn't really decide on a country that I would do that in because for me, that was kind of a way of seeing, hey, where could I live after uni? Because I don't want to come back to Cyprus, but neither do I want to go back to Germany. So I'm kind of in between doors right now. So that was one of the alternatives that I had for sure, and which is a great opportunity for a lot of people, but well, it didn't work out for me. The second alternative for uni that I want to talk about is traveling. Um, I had an idea of traveling through Europe for a year, but not really spend 2 weeks there, spend 2 weeks there. I would have thought about what countries I like to see in Europe and then be there a couple of months. So, for example, I would have started off going to Spain because I really do want to spend a lot of time in Spain. I want to get to know the country, the culture, because I think I would like it there. So the idea was to start off in Spain and then work there for 3 months and then move away, move to Italy maybe, or France, or Sweden, or Finland, anything, to kind of not, rather than work at one place for a year like I would have done in my gap year, I would have seen different places, still worked, still lived abroad, but would have seen different places. That would have been less stable for me though. Um, but it was a very nice opportunity in my head as well. And I really liked the idea, because you don't have to get to know one culture in that time, but you can have the opportunity and get to know a lot of countries, a lot of cultures. Um, so that was a very, very nice idea. The third idea, which I had, was to work as an au pair in the US, and that was my personal favorite. For those of you that don't know what au pair is, that's kind of like a nanny for kids. So I would have moved over there for a year. I would have stayed with a family. I would have, in the morning, in the noontime, and lunchtime, afternoon time, with taking care of the kids, cook, do the laundry, do dishes, whatever, kind of like a help within the household. And that was a very, very nice idea. And I liked it a lot personally because I am really drawn to the US. I know a lot of people are. And so am I. I'm really, really drawn there. And I really, really do want to get to know what it is like to live there. Now, unfortunately, I can't just move there for a year and then move back because the US is a bit strict on that. So the au pair would have been kind of a foot in the door for that. Um, but that didn't quite work out. Although I do have kind of a contact to somebody who did that, and she is very happy with her decision that she did it, because she said she gained a lot of experience from it, which I can imagine. So yeah, but it just, I mean, after a while, I decided I have to go to uni after school because of different reasons, which I will talk about later on. Then the fourth and last idea which I had was not pretty easy to talk about with my parents because that idea was to move back to Germany for a year, move in with my boyfriend, get our own place for a year, and then kind of work because he has another year of school. I finish this year and he finishes next year. So the plan was always for me to go to uni and for him to join me. But when I was uncertain if I would go to uni right away or not, we thought about maybe me moving to him, us getting our own place for a year, and then going to uni together. But that would have involved a lot of moving within 2 years. So, and it's a lot of stress to move because I've done that quite often, but it's a lot of stress to move. And honestly, with the situation in Germany right now, I don't really feel up to moving back there. Um, but that would have been nice because I would have worked while he was in school, and then yeah, we could have started building our life together. So that was a very, very nice option. But yes, unfortunately, and I'm going to mention that because, well, it's a bit harder for our parents to be like up for that, because if I would tell my parents I want to move back to Germany and get my own place with my boyfriend, they would be like, yeah, well, are you sure about this? Because it's a big, big step. And so would his parents, which is totally, totally understandable because it is a big step and we are quite young. We would have to make enough money to run an entire household. And honestly, that was not a realistic idea because it doesn't matter how much I would have worked, we would have lived on a single income because he takes a mini job, but it's a mini job. It's not a lot of money. And even if I would have worked all day, um, we still couldn't have run a household with one income. That's just not possible. So that was a very unrealistic idea, but it was a nice, option, I guess. Now that I am sure that I will go to uni right away, um, those options are kind of in the past, but I do want to keep them in mind for after uni because I finish with uni when I'm around 27, no, 25, something like that. And I mean, I'm still going to be young at that time. I still want to travel a lot. And I kind of pushed all of my ideas together and came up with a little idea in my head which I could do while studying. I would love to spend 1 year abroad studying somewhere else because I wanna find a uni that gives me the opportunity to take my credits which I gained in the time that I was studying there and transfer them to a different uni and then study there for a year or two and then take the credits which I gained there and go back to my initial university. The main thing why I didn't choose any of these options was that I was scared if I would start working somewhere else in a 9 to 5 that I couldn't be asked to go back to uni and that I would be stuck then in that lifestyle. And I didn't want that. I keep seeing people that they plan on doing one gap year And then they ended up having 7 gap years and not returning to uni ever, which is fair enough. I think I would have done the same, unfortunately. So I'm kind of pressuring myself not to do that and actually forcing myself to go through what I have to do to, yeah, be there where I want to be. So I hope this video gave you a little insight on what you could do as well rather than going to uni straight away. And yeah, if you like the video, like and share and subscribe, and see you next week.